Greetings, adventurers. How's it going? Welcome back to another Monday Maps with me, MadDrRob. Happy Black History Month, everybody. Go on, tell your black friends Happy Black History Month, and then go celebrate Black History all the time because it's American history. Telling you, yeah. Anyway, hope you guys have been doing well. Thank you for coming and hanging with us. We're out here going to make a new map today. Going to be working in Dungeon Draft. And should be fun. I think this one will be cool. As always, I got my sketch. And it's gonna be cool. I've done this one. I did this one a while ago. But I was like, I think this is time. I think it's time to go delve back deep into the earth instead of doing all this wonderful stuff outside. So we're gonna do a nice cool cave map today. Of course, before we hop into the maps, we got to do all of the things, all the announcements, and all the stuff. The first one is, hey, if y'all gonna be at BlurredCon, Obsidian Brews is gonna be there. Yes, that is right. You're gonna have a couple of the cool Obsidian Brews crew out there, not just attending BlurredCon, but running games at BlurredCon. So if you want to go play games with them, keep an eye out on the socials and keep an eye out on our Discord, and maybe giving a blast out soon so that you can come and play some games with us. Yeah, so that would be pretty dope. But yeah, keep an eye on socials, see what's gonna happen. Next up, if you've kept an eye on my socials, or I know some of City Brew socials, and general things, Apochromatic Unlimited has been having a Black History Month celebration all month, having a bunch of streams celebrating Black history and making sure, and also raising money for charity that definitely should be going to check out. And honestly, it's been awesome getting the chance to work with them. Oh, snap! Mark J's in the building. Yeah, Mark J was the one who put this all together, and honestly, we wouldn't be here. We wouldn't have been doing all the stuff without them. They are awesome peoples. Go support, go watch the games. I think they have one more day on the 28th. Go back and rewatch all the other games. Donate. Go to their socials. Donate money for a great cause. Thank you again. Happy Black History Month. Let's see. I think that's it. There's not much going on other than just me having fun and doing my own things. But I have to thank our wonderful director of production, Leanne Day, out here making sure we look good, sound good, smell good. Out here's on the internet. We'd be doing it. This wouldn't be looking half as good if they weren't making us look good. So thank you. But with that, I think we can hop right in. Yeah, it was a short little intro. You can catch me on anything that I happen to be in. I'll let you know. I think I was yeah, if you watched last week's episode of Castleton, it's in the end game over there, and it was very fun last session. Yeah, check it out. Other than that, yeah, just been around doing cool stuff, hanging out with the homies, playing in games. But yeah, today we're gonna hop into this map deep in the caves of some forgotten mine. This one's gonna be a little different than, like, not as bright and cheery as the other ones, but we're gonna try to spice it up with some color. But this one, we've done a couple caves before. I know last time we did, at least the first time we did a caves was before DragonCon. And I kind of was in the mood to do some more. So what we're gonna do first is something that we don't normally do. Is instead of putting walls down, we are going to put paths down. that's not the new part. The new part is that we're going to go with some of these edges first. So we're going to sort of get these top edges down, and then after that, put the walls in behind it and the flooring in behind it, so that you can sort of see where this how this rounds out. Now, of course, you saw from the sketch, there's a whole bunch of little nooks and crannies, and that's sort of why we're using this volcanic uh, rocky edge, so that you can sort of see the unevenness of the textures of the wall. And what we'll do, and so I can sort of show you, because I can start to do this with a standard width, which is kind of cool. Actually, let me put this on the correct layer. We're going to put this above walls. Right, so I can put this standard width here. Then what I can do is take any other wall. So let's say I'm going to take this nice cliff stone, and I can run it underneath it. This is over, like, so you can sort of see a little bit of texture there, or run it right along here. So now the wall has a different top. So you can see the rocks sort of hanging off the edges, while these other walls sort of enclose the space. That's sort of the vibe we're going for when we do something like this. And of course, we can sort of try to make the cliff edges thicker and do a couple more things of that nature. But we're gonna start. I think I actually am gonna make it a little bit thicker, so it'll be like, let's say 1.25. We're just gonna start from the top. There's a couple of sections that we're gonna try to do. Oops. There we go. I'm gonna put this above roofs, because whatever happens above roofs is your highest layer, as you can see. If I were to put a roof in, this would be above it. Walls always come in at 6. Portals always come in at 5. So just trying to make sure we're laying all our stuff properly. This is going to be the highest thing at 900. These won't really change unless I don't like how thick they are, and then I'll change it before I get started. But let me get my count. 5, 6, 7, 8. So we're going to start at 8, 7, 8. And of course, I didn't take into consideration which direction we're going. So if this is 8, I'm going to start at 10 then, and work our way down. 9, 10. And you'll notice I turned off smoothness. Because when you have smoothness on, you'll wind up with nice round corners, and it'll sort of cut back some of the things you're trying to do. 2, 3. And if something doesn't look good, like some of these corners don't look the best, we'll try to smooth those out as we go, or later on. But sometimes it really is just a matter of snapping additional points, or just adjusting where this comes out to. Right, so I can always cut this back a little bit. Oops. Okay. Yeah, so we'll bring these back to make that look good. But we are going to keep going. Actually, yeah. Sort of the hard part about stopping when you're doing this little mess up where you were. Snap. 10. Cool. 2, 3, 2, 2, 1, and 1, 2, 1. I always like starting with the walls first because it sort of puts in the boundaries of what you're playing with and what you're looking at. And honestly, putting in walls and putting in shadows are the hardest part uh, of most maps. 2, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Couple spots where this isn't lining up for me, so we'll just make it work. 2. There we go. So we'll see. It may look a little different than how I had it originally, but that's all right. We'll make it work out. Yeah. That's gonna be the far left side. We're gonna do the far right or far right side. We're gonna do the far left side now. Yet again, keeping in mind directions. We're gonna start at 6 down here at the bottom. I'm going to turn the smoothness back on a little bit. 6. Because for this one, I do need to be able to sort of hit some of these corners. 1, 2, 3, 4. So for when you have smoothness on, when you make these turns, I may wind up redoing the right side. When you make these turns, make sure you click on your end. So once you make a turn, set that point so that it doesn't continue distorting. But that'll keep you in a good spot. as always, if you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the chat. I will do my best to answer them, or at least tell you where my head's at for some of these things. So I know I do make maps a bit different than some other people. Seven. Now, some of these places that have weird curves, will take care of them later. And as I said before, I may redo this left side. But cool. Actually, going pretty well. Um, the sides are always the easy part. It's the middle that gets hard. Um, luckily, I made at least one of these semi-easy. We tried, right? 4, 2, 4, 3. We'll start there. Now, you may hear me calling out numbers as I'm doing this. When I make my sketches, I do try to mark everything out by 5s. And then I try to just line up places that I need to get to by those numbers. So it's like, okay, I'm going from 4 to 14 to over here, over 8. And then you can sort of just becomes an easier tracing application at that point, hopefully. Sometimes. At yeah. So I'm going to 5, 10, 15, 17, 17, 5.5. think. So when you know if you only have one piece to worry about, you can just follow that home. And then all you have to do is edit these points a bit. Sort of smooth out these turns. That's not so bad. I do sort of like the smoothness of it, so we will redo this right side. It looks better. And it also gives even with the distortion that you have to zoom all the way in for, these rocky outcroppings here, so it looks sharp in places and round in others, which sort of is normal rock texture. So with it becomes a feature, not a bug, unlike some of these edges which don't look the best. They look all right, but like this one here doesn't look great, so we'll redo it. Look at that. With that, you'll notice as we go through, or as I continue to do this one, kind of close quarters here. This particular map was made with close quarters exploration in mind. Though I didn't fully figure out what goes here, so I may be requiring your assistance in figuring that out. These. The good thing about these, I tend to make like 5 foot squares versus 10-foot squares. I typically do 5-foot squares. Though when I make it and export them, I make them such that if you wanted to use 10-foot squares, you could. Interior maps like caves are good to they make sure you have them in as good a resolution as you can, so that you can go either narrow corridors or wider for 2x2. But keeping it sort of like, you should always have that at least one corridor that's just a 5-foot walk. You guys your players have to figure that out for, if you're playing D&D or someone or adjacent like Pathfinder or something like that. It just gives that feel, like the feel just becomes off at that point and everyone has to figure it out. And hope someone doesn't throw a lightning bolt down that hole. I wouldn't do that because I'm nice, but I'm just saying it could be done. I'm glad you all believe me. Thank you. I'm gonna go to the next set. I think this one is probably one of the more trickier ones. But yeah, some of these, you always gotta love your players. Like, you gotta give them something cool, but you can't always let them feel too comfortable with these wide open spaces. Wrath would never send lightning bolts at people. He would cut them down with his own hands, because he's a gentleman. Oops. That's not true. Wrath would 100% throw a lightning bolt if you could. Yeah. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So from here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we're going to start here, here, here. 1, 2. Yeah. This is where we'll have to go back over some of this a little bit. I did not make this easy for myself. Should be added 5, 10, 15, 17. Oh, yeah, right. For those wondering, in Castleton, I was playing the demigod of Wrath. He's such a nice guy. He was honestly the nicest. Do feel free to check it out. It was really cool. A lot of fun to work. AJ did a lot of very hard work and pulled off an incredible story. So very happy to be a part of it. Yeah, see, like every so often, just pulling together a nice, cool cave is a lot of fun. I'm gonna take some licenses with this part. I just have to get back to 5, 10, 15, 18, 20. Ah, that came out a little too far. I will fix that issue later. Now, as you all know, typically, or everyone who's been here before knows, typically I use my markers, use my little globe markers to find out where I am. I did not do that this time. Yeah, that's why it takes a little bit longer. I always do suggest putting, especially if you're doing trickier pathways like this, putting down little markers, at least in key points, so that you can make your line as straight as possible and you know exactly where you're trying to hit. It does speed this part up a little bit, but it's all right. We're getting there. 15, 17? Yeah. And as I said, I will I don't actually. Yes, that is a very good question. Werewolf. What is a barrow? I'm also not familiar with that term. Oh, old burial mounds. Ah, okay. That's very cool. Last one is just a home run back up. Yeah. Ooh. I'm gonna fix this, give it a little bit more personality in a second. This seems to have gone. Oh, I know we're gonna fix it, but it's going a little bit awry. Yeah, it doesn't look too bad. As I said before, this is the hard part, but we're going to start here. Oh. If you don't like how something a path looks or a wall looks, you can always just hit backspace. It'll knock it out. There we go. I just didn't like how that looked. 15. Or 10. Now we're going to start to get funky. Let's 15. Here. Go to 13. It's a little too sharp. That's okay. Well, we can fix that. We can fix that. I'm going to widen this area out and then bring it back as we go. Eight. There we go. Honestly, that looks pretty good. It's a little sharper than I wanted it to be, but that's okay. Gives a good feel. Gets that some of these will start to narrow down to give that claustrophobic feel in some of these places. And as I said before, I am gonna redo this right side, but as to be true to myself, turn the shadows off. I am gonna leave myself some markers. So as always, when you start tracing, it makes it much easier. Yeah, unfortunately, I can't turn smoothness on once I've made a path, so that's why you have to delete it. But that's okay. Now you can sort of see why it's a little bit easier when you're able to have some guides to follow. And I did notice one little thing about this one, is that this one's supposed to be a little bit wider. So all we have to do is set those points. This into here. Brings a little bit more life to it. But yeah, there we go. Now we're looking pretty. Then to get rid of all of our points, set your filter layer to objects. Highlight all the objects. Boom, gone. And with that, we've created all of our top walls. As I said, that tends to be the hardest part after shadows. Because everything else is now just tracing and trying to fill in those gaps for where things are. So what we're next thing we're going to do is start giving some differentiation between your upper. We're going to fix this little part down here, but we're going to give some differentiation between your upper walls and your lower walls. So this looks a little wonky. Some of it's the rock style. making slight bulges in the form will give these bits and pieces of like line of sight. And what makes these type of maps fun is that you now have, while it is a small space, only 25 by 25 as a map, you're able to use these small enclosed spaces to either pincer your players or let them explore, and then just throw random things where maybe things shouldn't live. What we're we're gonna start using our pattern shape tools I had for our outer walls. I think this is gravel, so we're not gonna use this one. I'm gonna use like a rock. This one I am gonna tack in. There are so many things here. As I said, well, I'm using DungeonDrRob to create all these maps. All of the assets I'll be using are part of Forgotten Adventures or Tom Kartos. They make really good assets. So go to their Patreons, subscribe to them, and you can find all of their assets available. It makes my maps look good, so I'm always happy to use them, and they have a lot of cool things. So it's like I always highly suggest them if you're able to help them out and give it a look. So actually I'll do it this way. Cave floor O2A. That's the actual floor that we're gonna use. Just so you're aware, always pick a cave floor that's going to be lighter, and then you'll darken it later. Luckily, we'll be able to change most of this and make stuff happen. But I always suggest go for the lighter cave floor, so that when you throw your shadows down and things like that, it darkens the area and puts you'll show the contrast between what's around and what's not. I'm using the fill brush, one, because it's fun, and sort of showing off the fact that you can just fill in wherever you want, and just resize your brush for neater lines, as long as you turn your intensity all the way up. If your intensity is down, it just takes longer for it to fill. So that's 1.8, boom, right? When it's down to like a 2, you can see the difference. It takes much longer. So I try to keep mine on 8 when I'm filling in these places I definitely know need to be filled in. I turn it down to the 1 when you're just trying to fill against walls, especially these like corner pieces. Make it bigger when you're just filling in these big spaces like over here and stuff like that. This is great. I think one of the like more awesome features of DungeonDrRob, because let's say as we're looking, we don't want to use this cave floor anymore. We're tired of it, and we wanted to use cave floor 4A. So, right, boom, fixed. Right, just full change, and then back. So you don't have to. If you're trying to figure out which ones you like, what looks good, you can give yourself swatches and then just change 1 or 2 things, and it looks really cool. And DungeonDrRob is really great. So if you're making outside maps or other terrain maps, if you want to throw in like a snow effects, hence why they have the terrain snow right there. It's perfect where you're like, okay, I'm gonna first put grass, and then the next one I'll just fill it with snow. And so you wind up having easily switchable terrains, and they able to throw a couple things. Only have to make minor adjustments and minor corrections to have these more dynamic looking maps. or maps that are able to react to your environments. Especially if you have to, if your players are like, "Oh man, is it raining out?" and you're like, "Yeah." Oh shoot, I don't have a map with rain. All you have to do is change the lighting a little bit, drop in some puddles, and you're done. Is it snowing? Boom, snow, done. Now, some of this is going to change in a little bit. You can see as we sort of add in this floor here, just immediately give the distinction between where people will be exploring and what won't be. Now, I do know a lot of people typically use like black for walls, but kind of it's great if you're just doing something quick, but I try to make it interesting if I can. So my walls are going to have a different texture. As always, thanks for hanging out with me today, or hanging out with us today over here at Obsidian Brews. Always a pleasure to have you guys here, and I hope you're enjoying this. Yet again, if you have any questions, feel free to drop it in the chat. And I will gladly try to answer it if I can. There we go. So the majority of our floor is covered. Now I did leave this place empty for a reason. And that is because I wanted to use it as a little bit of a thing. See the reason in a second. Now, as I said before, what's great about this is that if I want to change my floors, right, I want to use this rock ground B, what we had before as a dirt texture, boom, now rocks. Now a hard rocky texture. And if we don't like it, we can change it, make it harder, make it look a little bit more different. Heavy rock textures, things like that. But now we have, as I said, make your floors a different color from your walls, because that's one of the muddiest looks. I've seen it a bunch of times. I've done it a couple times where the walls look the same as the floor and you're like, where's the boundary again? Especially you making it'll throw you off. So try to make it easy on yourself while you do this. But of course, now we know, as we're building it, this sort of darker texture up top is going to be our walls, and the lighter color will be our floors. And we're going to save this. Forgot to save it. This will be the Minds of Mystery. Because while I do like this rocky texture, I was kind of feeling this lava-esque texture too. Like sort of jeweled lava. And what we can do, yeah, turn on to smooth blending. Yeah, the lava may be a little bit too dark. That's okay. We can, yeah, that's hot lava. Not what we want. That's okay. Whoops. We'll start with that, and then we'll make it work. Especially because if we want to change our relatively recently added, when you put paths in, if you want to change the type of path, you can. Provided the path you want is there. So sort of put cool things in, change anything to your desire. Cool. Now we're gonna start throwing in some of these features. Now I said I'll leave in some of these rooms a little different, and that's because I want to throw in some stairs in one of them. Throw in some stone stairs. These are going to be on the 200 layer. Oh, these are bigger. They need to be. If it's a little bit bigger or it doesn't look right, it happens. It's no big deal. Like for me, I sort of want these to be wider than what we got here. So what I'm doing is hiding it underneath the sort of hiding it underneath the edges of what's here, which is perfectly fine. Very few people are going to notice. If it's not the right size, just make it a little bit smaller. This is sort of where you have to give yourself a little grace. Some of these, so I'm saying making clear stairs, make sure people know what's what. The gray stairs are not as easy to see, therefore want to put them down. Right, trying to put gray stairs on gray. You can we have ways of making them more readable with additional shadows and things, which we will do. But for right now, we're going to stick with these stairs. So open everything up. Yeah, we're going to go for slopes. So on here, I've drawn a couple of, put this all the way down like 100, 200. Couple of like slopes, just little places where it's not flat. I don't like putting I always say this. You'll hear no matter which uh which stream you come to, I will always say do not make your terrain just flat. It doesn't look cool. It makes for a less interesting story. Giving your terrain levels, even in the smallest bits, will make your terrain more interesting. And trust me, your players will thank you because it's something different than they, at the very least, than they thought was going to happen. So putting in like little slopes, ooh, that's new. Yeah, that's new. Uh, Putting in like some little slopes here. Um, it's on the 100 layer, so it's not. If something that's weird, always move it. Now, you may have noticed that every so often these things start bleeding over, and that is happening because we used the terrain brush. So when you put in terrain, it always comes in at the lowest possible layer. Sort of talked about it with the all of our layers. Terrain always comes in as minus 500, so it's always at the bottom, bottom, bottom. So what I typically do, and what I probably will do later, I'm probably going to go over with the pattern, and hence how we'll be able to sort of use some of this. Excuse me, but go above walls, pretty much try to blend in with what we have here. And if you just sort of set a pattern there, you'll sort of see that it covers anything we got. So if we were to try to show you edit points, so this guy right here, you see sort of sticks out like a sore thumb right there. If I drop a pattern on top of it, it is gone. Sort of hide it with your patterns. And if you want to get creative with it, you start using your multi-point tool. I put it at like 700, which is right above the walls. That would just work right underneath. This, and you sort of, now you can't see it, and it looks more blended into the actual formwork. So that's how we're going to get rid of some of these bleeding parts. But you always want to start with something so you sort of understand what you're building. And of course, we're going to have some shadows in here that make it a little bit easier to see things. But sad. We have to put some of these things at interesting points so we can sort of get what we're looking for. I think these wide curved slope, which will get the actual view. Shadows. So you're aware. 200. We'll try for the. I think a 40. Path 40. 200 layer. It's actually just too big. but now you sort of highlighted the fact that there's a terrain change. You can use steps with this as well. To sort of show a jump or a cliff or something like that. And we'll use the other parts of the parts of path to show these little jumps and these drop offs. But one is just right now we're just marking them off. One, two. Here. We're trying to make sure we follow the the shadows. Shadows should be on your downhill side. Making sure these are on 100. So they're more ground and more terrain that we can play with. Alright. I will go back and just cover these real fast. Nope. And just like that, we've gone from having sort of a single level floor to having actual levels to it. What you can do is sort of keep doing it depending on where you're at. Like for this hallway, this one's fine, but moving down from here. Yeah. Slip those in. Yes, this definitely has Pokemon cave vibes. Honestly, a lot of like Pokemon had some really interesting cave designs. They weren't hard, or well, they were hard just because you couldn't see. But if you knew what you were looking for, you're like, oh, this is super easy. But it made it so that you actually had to go through the whole thing. One of the other ideas I just tend to have actually for this map came from a panel I did at Dragon Con, which was a lot of fun. Shout out to Dragon Con. It's great. Great con. Hope to be back this year. But somebody asked, they were talking about their games and that their players like to just teleport to the end of the dungeon. Or if they can, it's like, what do you do about that? And that was a really interesting question to me because if your players keep teleporting to the end of a dungeon and don't want to do dungeons, either they don't like doing dungeons or they don't respect the fact that you made a dungeon for them. And these can be a little lighter. But if they like dungeons and just want to teleport to the end, that's okay. You can give them a way in. It's just making, you just wind up doing, in my opinion, you wind up doing the dungeon in reverse. Because you can teleport to the end, but there's a reason why it's a dungeon, not just a straight line walk into wherever you want to go, right? So, but if you're going to do that, if you're going to make them go through the dungeon, it's got to make sense. And that was sort of one of the reasons why when I was sketching this and when I was thinking about it, like I wanted to use, we're going to use some of these, at least some of the effect of putting this, this rock, this lava rock down on this place, because it always says within the rules that, or within rules written, especially for like looking through objects, you can't look through like metal or piece, like things like that. So having ore that makes your travel wonky, or that makes things hard to leave from, those are fun things you can always put into your maps and make it just a little bit more interesting. Because if it's just a cave with a cave in it, then there's a cave, there's a guy in it, we're gonna walk to the end, all right, fine, up, beat the guy, cool, we're done. What was fun about the cave? Now, if there was we teleported into the cave and then we couldn't leave, now you got yourself something interesting. But with that said, I seem to have just made a cave where you walk to the back of the cave and then there's nothing interesting there. And of that, I cannot allow. So what we're going to do is add some water. Luckily, Dungeon Draft has some really cool water effects. Turn the blend distance down to like 0.5. And I'm gonna start. We'll finish up with the circle, but and I like to do is after you sort of make something, it'll give you. Sometimes it gives you a good circle, sometimes it doesn't. Always go a little bit further off the map if you're right in a corner. If you don't like your blend distance, fine. Oh, also being able to disable the border makes it look very cool. It's a little bit clearer to figure out, but and if you don't like your blend distance or want it to be a little bit, want to have more you know, more shallows than deep or whatever, what you can do is just add extra area and it'll change it for everything. Or if you hold Alt and see it's now blue instead of yellow, when you take something away, when you mess with the area, it'll fix itself based on whatever you want. Same thing with colors, actually. So if you want it to be a little bit deeper, you want your shallows a little bit more rich. Right, I could do that. And it gives it automatically gives the fun texture to it. You can do just to make sure you got everything looks. Ooh. We'll take our banks, which actually has like a stone stone slate. We're gonna put it over this. So let's check our direction. Cool. You can always make it darker just to give delineation. Sort of pick a point here. No, gotta keep it. I'm gonna keep the smoothness on. And it's okay if the water's either sticking out a little bit or not quite looking how we want it to. That stuff we can fix later. This is just making sure we got our feel right. So now when you look, this water looks a little bit more intimidating. There's an actual drop off into this water, right? And if you don't like where the water goes to, you can always have the freehand tool to sort of get you there. And all you have to do is go right along the edge. I could do nice curves and things like that if I wanted to. Holding shift and sort of breaking these. But since I'm hiding it underneath these paths, I don't have to. But you know that it is available to you, and I will show you some other cool ways of using it later on. Once it turns blue, you know you've gotten it. Now all you're doing is trying to zap some of these extra spots, which I think if I were to Alt, you'll see the color changes. Boom, it's gone. So there you go. That's how you can get rid of extra or pieces that are sticking out that you didn't really want, or make your stuff look good. Alt. Cool. With that, we're going to give you a little depth. And we're doing a lot of stuff early. So what we do is go below water. That's where my shadow's at. There. Depending on what you want to have, or how you want it to look. I'd say if you take shadow path, half a 40. Go below water, so it's going to go below this guy. Make 2. We're going to sort of do the same thing, just try to trace underneath this. We're going to start to see automatically giving some of this depth. Water. And if you layer that with something else, so let's say let's start here. So here. Hit shift. You can get cool effects with like bubbles, or they need to be a little bit wider. Interesting effects like that. Yeah. Sorry, do A6 there. Shadow path. A6 there. Need it to go further than the edge, just extend it. And always sort of make interesting terrain. What we're going to do with this terrain though is instead of snow, we're going to go back to default. No. Yeah. Just make it black. Take that. Under. What we're going to do is take some of these vertical stone volcanic cliffs, these really thick black ones, but keep it one. But what we're going to do is right inside here, like we've got to the sort of inside of this wall. Drop it off. And then Just take the pattern shape tool and go up to the top. This little X here. Whatever color that X is the color that you're going to be putting in. And sort of start there. Stop there. Throw that low ground. Now we've made a chasm here in the bottom of this pool that was not there before. Something's crawled out. Something is here. And now we have ourselves an adventure. You sort of create the things that you want to see happening if you can. And then what you can do, this is just like, I like this. I'm going to edit the this perimeter a little bit. Give our players, either force our players to have to enter the water at least a little bit. Actually, I'm gonna just move all of. I can't move it all back. Sort of move some of these pieces back, right? There's an extra point there. Just take it out. Sort of see some of the issues with doing things after the fact. Hence why I took out I redid that whole other part, just because a bit easier to just deal with that way. Yeah, from there, you have only a little bit of cover back here. Now we're going to do the same thing for our shadows. Be very delicate with your shadows because you don't want them to artifact. You see the bunching there? That is the artifacting that happens as you're doing this. So spread it out if you need to take pieces out. Feel free. For your shadows aren't bunching in places like right here. But again, back to the water. I'm gonna extend the blend distance by a little bit. As always, thanks for hanging out us today here on Obsidian Brews. Another Monday Maps. You're making this, at this point, very ominous. Structure, cave system that now has a massive water passage that's just appeared. Save. Don't forget to save. Dungeon Draft does save for you, so things get easier, but don't forget to save. What's your paths? Oops. Yeah, I just like these larger stepped paths a little bit more. Give them more of a step feel to it. These slopes work, but having some stepways. Feel a little. Thoughts. I like the slope, but I'm gonna change it up a bit. Keep the slopes over here. Could probably make them bigger. Nope. But we will make some just natural stairs. These natural stone slates. You could sort of go with whatever one you want. I do like these stone slate A's more than others. Just for they give a That's too big. The look I wanted. What we'll do, we'll use the shadow path step. Just this one, this wibbly wobbly step. What you do is you sort of go underneath this one. And you're sort of tracing the already established outline of the stair, or of this rock face. Sort of establish your steps. Sort of making these natural steps. Same thing over here. So, well, for these, I would sort of use your shadow path. You can use your halves. A's are shallower than B's, so you're gonna go over. What you're gonna try to do is go over the outer portion. So you're trying to make the outer portions look a little bit darker than the top to show depth. Now this looks like the deeper steps, and you can sort of play with how these sit. Now, with the walls how they are, you need to start filling this in with some things. One thing I was thinking is playing with the water. All of these places, if you ever are in dungeons and things like that, and you're like, oh, this is kind of cool. That drip that you always hear when you use dungeon sounds has always been interesting to me. So I always like to put like just wet, damp spots in caves. So I'm going to, we'll try it this way, and if it doesn't work, we'll do something else. Take this, take a small brush, sort of fill the corners here. Right. Yeah. Here and then. As I said before, anything we don't want, we're just gonna get rid of it. And sort of have pooled water dripping in those corners. And we have other effects that are going to make that kind of cool. And then let's try it over here. Let's just do it in this these little alcoves over here. Start with the small brush. A lot of this will cover up, but each of these little pools their own little thing. Yeah. Adding bits and flecks of color and pieces here and there. Stuff for people to see and interact with. So what we can do is we have these cool these water ripples. So we kind of hard to see. So I want to put some of these down. Yeah, let's do this. With that, what we'll do is we'll put some shadow behind that so the objects sort of pop. This. Put these at a higher level. Let's put these at like 400. So that when we put shadows on them, you could sort of see this whole thing. But yeah, for that you can sort of start to see like dripping water in different places. Sort of. Let's see if we can put some other features. Now I was thinking this was more of a mine, an old mine. So let's try to have some rates. Let's see if we have any. I have so many. Some of these are for like burners. There we go. So we're going to use these rusted manhole grates. I'm going to put one here. And I'm putting these kind of high. To like 200. Because what we'll do, we'll put shadows underneath it so it looks really dark. And like any water that's touching it will go down into wherever. while we're here, does anybody have any ideas on what types of things uh may be found in this mine as players are looking? I have some ideas, but I always like to hear you guys' ideas. You guys got good stuff. Do not worry, this is not a test. Merely a question. Let's see, I'm just throwing shadows, long shadows underneath these. Ooh, a lava spring? I dig it. Okay, that's actually very cool, and I am going to try to make that happen. Where would we like? Yo, Sphinx, how's it going? Was able to catch a little bit of your game the other night for the apocalyptic BIPOC or apocalyptic Black History Month celebration. It was a really good game. Good stuff. Oh, okay. I've got an idea. I've got an idea. Let's see how we want to make this. Then. I do want to do the water thing again. Over here, just leaking from the walls. But performance, yeah. Yeah. So, all right. I had an idea with the wall, so I'm gonna move this out a little bit. Actually, I can cut it back. Points. And as I stated before, to get sort of unwanted water artifacting, just trace your edges. Boom, gone. I want to try to do, and let's see if we can. Let's turn. It's a Tom Cartos. Hicks, okay. Oh, baby. We got ourselves some ideas. What we're gonna do, because the lava spring is very, very cool. We're gonna take one of our lava icons. We did want lava anyway. That's what give off its own light. Ooh, yeah, this is. We just made this real interesting. What's the one? Trying to find the right shape. Yeah. I'm gonna make this a little bit bigger. I'm gonna make our water. We'll just move it over. So just touch us. We'll use the longer one. Object tool. Goodness. Just enough so that it touches. These are funny shapes, so I'm trying to make sure this fits semi-nicely. Yo! Dylan, what's up? How's it going? Glad to have you here while we are making a new map this evening. For those that have just joined, I'm currently trying to find the right lava pool. I think this is the one. Yeah, this is the one. As we work on this new cave system. So the idea was implanted that there should be some lava springs like just shutting out of the walls in certain places, which honestly is really, really cool. So what I'm gonna do, the walls, I'm actually going to try to fade this in. Which way do we go? Okay. Grow, shrink, be better. Gonna give you some holes to fall out of, as well as giving some of this wall some texture. Yeah, we're gonna make this whole wall sort of porous and rocky, as if it's been as if it's just been potted with some of these I gotta make it smaller. With these little blots of of lava. Do we're actually going to clean up the water on the side and just turn this into like just make this a full lava bath. Cap this off. This is not for a game yet. As sort of as I go, I'm gonna think of something. I may think of some cool stuff to put this in. But hey, if you guys right now we're just thinking a cool thing to drop in here. But if y'all think of cool stories of what's going on in here, feel free to let me know, because what we can do is sort of build the story around what we make. So it doesn't have to just be, you know, my story. It could be all of our stories. Do some cool stuff here, you know? Let's go down to the 200 layer. If we sort of go down 100 layer, oh, none. Oh, this has the water. Yeah, that's water. Which way does it go? Back. Okay. And then we'll just fill this little crevice here with water. Clearly, this would have been built up with more stone because of all of this lava coming out of it. We're going to take some path. Here, shadow path, B toward the path. Under this. Oh. And what we'll do is we'll sort of combine things here. I'm going to bring this down to 100. Bring this down. Bring this down to 100. And we're going to sort of start building around this, right? So objects, tags, all the way down to waterfalls. Uh, waterfalls. We're gonna have on the 700 there. Water pouring in from there. And as this lava mixes with the yeah, man, so definitely give it another shot. One way, as sort of did it earlier, I don't know what you're using, but if you're using like Dungeon Draft or something like that, uh, to get your elevations to sort of be sort of meaningful, uh, what we did here was sort of use a bit of a two-part approach. Versus the actual step itself, which is just one of these cliff pieces plus the wibbly wobbly step shadow. It sort of gives the defined stepping, and what you can do is either space them close to each other. Computer, calm down, please. Like these to make clear, defined steps. All right, Dylan, thanks for stopping by. We appreciate you, bro. Or like these, where your steps are really close by, creating clearly defined steps. But even if you're hand drawing, especially if you're hand drawing it, make your steps. If you want to show clearly defined steps, you want to sort of make your little wave line for your stair and then shade it a little bit, then do it again. So you're showing actual elevation and go, okay, these are stairs, or put in an actual triangular stair marker that there's stairs going down, and make it clear for yourself, and that way you can be able to explain it and point it out to others. But also with things like ridges, like here's a ridge and then a thick shadow, so that's going to show a drop off to another section. So it just makes it more interesting as people are moving around, like flowing and things, like trying to flow from one spot to the other. Okay. Unfortunately, sort of. I can throw 700 above walls. And I can use some shadows to make this. Right. And give it a shot. Let me know how it turns out. If you have any questions while you're doing it, just hit me up. Perfect. I'm actually going to do this on both sides. Kind of It was a very cool idea. They're not shooting out of the wall. They're more plopping out. I may try use. I wanted to try to use this. Uh, use something smaller. Of it just like pouring out. Uh, maybe. Yeah, just a steady drip. Exactly. It's sort of flushing out. Uh, sort of cooling. Huh. Yay. Yeah, this is kind of cool. Yeah, so we'll use some of this molten rock pieces here. Gonna throw that down on like 300. To sort of show where the lava has started to hit the water. And we'll hit that with the shadow so people can see it or understand what's going on there. MadDrRob Walker X. Big Matt, what's happening? Matt will be one of your GMs out there at BlurredCon. So keep an eye out on the socials for the things. More information to come. But as I said, I was going to try to do some little shadow work. So we're going to do shadow path half A, 12 walls. I'm going to make this that's 2.2. Okay, so we're gonna go left to right. Oh no, it's gotta be both roofs. So, got the right shadow path, just gotta get the right look. Yeah. And then we'll hit it with the little chunk slides. We'll try. We'll touch this up in a little bit. Actually, that's very cool. I want to try to do it in other spots. Just to add a little bit more danger to this place. Alright, So going. So mine carts. So I'm really digging this. Uh, now that we've gotten a lot of the stuff in, uh, some of these pieces, let's start filling this in with just random bits, just to sort of show the disheveled nature of these. We can do tracks, which I don't love putting in tracks because they wind up having to put a lot of stuff in. But we could put dynamite. Let's have some little dynamite over here. If you don't address that, the whole side of the cave explodes. Like they do. I won't do that, but it'd be fun. Yeah, it's a little forbidden hot tub. Let's see if we got some good mine tracks. These gotta be small. I think found one. Ooh. Yeah, we can do some. What we could do? We have to take out these stairs here. We could just do a straight run down to here. Yeah. Oh no. Honestly, yeah. Mythbusters Mythbusters are the gods of doing that. Shout outs to the Mythbusters being awesome people and fostering a love of math, science, and explosives within us all. Yeah, rest in peace, Grant. Grant was so cool. Like, I will gladly share this story because it was one of my favorite stories of all time. I got the pleasure of meeting Grant one time. I think it had to have been in like 2012. No, it's 2011. Yeah. And we were at a party, after party for Comic-Con, and we were hanging out, just ordering some drinks, and my friend, I don't know if he's in chat, but Danny, shout out to Danny Lim, he's like, hey, look, there's that guy. And for me, I'm like, oh, there's a friend we know. Cool, I'll turn around and go say what's up as I'm holding my drinks. And I literally turn around and go, oh shit, it's Grant. And freeze. He's like, hey man, what's up, dude? Chill, don't spill your drinks. And he was the nicest dude. He was so cool. Man. But yeah, Grant definitely was like, he was one of those cats where I'm like, oh, there are legit, like, oh, there are people of color that do cool engineering things. Bet I can do this. So when I went into civil engineering after in college, I was like, oh, that's a thing that we can do. I don't have to pretend like it's not. So yeah, shout outs to Grant for definitely having that representation and making us look good, and also for blowing cool, like blowing stuff up. It was awesome. But yes, I will always remember that, and that was always one of the funniest. Oops. Uh, these are old tracks. So let's do some ashen tracks. And we're gonna have it come up to here. With all the work I do on trains, I am not very good with laying out tracks. Yeah, it's gotta be 0.75. No, 0.5. a lot of time everybody will put in stuff and it's just be, they'll just set it to one. If you really think about it, uh, setting these at one mean that all of these things are about 5 feet across, and the mine cart would be about 5 foot across, which is not how this works. So clearly, want about half of that 3 foot manageable mine cart. So that's why we sort of set these things to manageable at half. Um, we'll start with that. That looks kind of good. Um, what up? Undo some of this just to make sure it works properly. Um, yeah, we've gotten way past this is exactly why you don't want like massive, like, unless this was the ride to get down the chute, you don't want massive mine carriage going all the way down there. Let's go over. um for this end is just gonna be all types of chute up. Kind of want this to like actually go into the room where people will sort of follow it. It's like, oh, they're broken, but why? You know what? That actually, yeah. I think that's what this is gonna wind up being. This was an old lava mine. Great. messed up stop. So typically, this would be rooted to the ground, but we don't want to do that. So it's not. It's just going to be messed up. We will have a stop up here though, and we'll figure out where that goes. Thank you guys for cool ideas. Another switch. Snapped. Good. No, you go away. See where this ends. Always move this up a little bit. Oh, snap, that worked. Cool. Then we could put our stops in. Yeah, this is just an end. This is an actual stop. Just so stuff doesn't go off the track. We need a couple extra feet of track. Metal stop. This would be an end. You could load new things on and off. Y'all, I really appreciate the cool ass ideas. Let's give this a standard and want to at least the beginning to look normal. Yes, home. Sick. So with that, we can actually start putting out like just random turned over mine carts. And that's sort of the trick you're gonna have to do after the fact. Let's put these on 2. While we don't want our tracks to look outrageous, you can make your mine carts look outrageous. That's the part that people will suspend their disbelief for. We'll use these old rusted mine carts. This is actually pretty decent. It's like 3 foot high, 3 foot wide, so it would serve its purpose, I guess. Let's have a full one, shall we? Let's see, how far should this reach? Should we have it reach over to... Nah, we'll make some steps to sort of show that one half had to be traversed on foot, the other half had to be done by actually done by what you call it. Bobs can't afford top shelf viewers. They can only afford the craftable ones. I'm gonna start putting some of these down low. Like 200. I'm gonna start piling stuff on top of this. They would still have other use for these things. Hey, if you can roll a carriage a cart, that will be way more helpful than not being able to roll. I mean, we'll put some wooden ones over here. always as you're digging deeper, do you find the weird things. One metal right here. Or kind of a wooden thing. Do we not have wooden minecarts turned over? Blarg. What's up, man? Yeah, we'll just have to throw some metal card there. Thing is, rubble pile stone. So, and what makes this sort of fun now is that we have these piles, rubble piles that were made. That makes my life a whole lot easier. Because as you can see, I can just sort of make piles of rubble without having to do anything extra. Um, that's a good question. I was thinking that this mine like sort of became unstable at first. But there's gotta be some other reason. And I'm thinking it's because they found whatever was over here. Like something started coming out and causing problems. So one, finding lava not ideal. That means you're gonna have issues later. Yet again, shout out to Rubble Piles. So this makes my life a whole lot easier. But you know what? If y'all have a cool idea for why this place got shut down, maybe I can incorporate that into what we got going on so far. I'm always up for cool ideas. You know, every so often there's just a weird underground, lava pocket. Which I think I'm going to do over here. Just decorating this is the fun part. I think let's do 200 underneath. So we're gonna do, we're gonna move this up to 300. And what we'll be able to do with the with these at 300, I can put shadows right on the edges of it and look like the shadow of the part is casted over the shadow of, or casted over these. I forgot the, there it is. Old cave stone. We're going to start throwing that wherever there is water. It'll be at the 400 layer over. Grow, shrink. Five, 700. What I'm thinking now is, instead of these droplets of water, well, we can still use these. We'll sort of show water dropping out of these holes here. But at this point, I'm really liking the idea of these lava pools everywhere. So I'm going to have, yeah, 75 is fine. I want to give the players a little bit less room to play on. Ooh, old slimes. I dig it. Second, I'm gonna get rid of this water here. I'm gonna add water here. Let's just subtract water here. As you can see, once I press the Alt button, it turned blue. That's how you know it's taking things out. But where's my, yeah. I think we found ourselves a reason why this place got abandoned. pools of lava just spewing out here. I think what we're gonna do is take away those. We're gonna change the water texture here, or at least over on this side, and go with your slime idea. So we're gonna change the water. Let's see. Do we have object tool all massive? Ah. I do have some blood. Okay. Sometimes we may get lucky and be able to take some of these pools if we have a good color and just change it to a different one. So we could take some of these this whole section and turn it from being water to being lava. We're gonna take all of the water here and take a big square. Alt. Oh god. That's just a placeholder for other things. I'll bind that with that shortly. These particular stamps I haven't worked with before, so thank you for hanging with me while I try to figure this out. Water. Trying to see if I have this. Exactly this. Thank you. 200, I think. Hopefully I can get this pretty accurate. We're just gonna this is the wibbly wobbly line. It's literally used for outlining things like this. I've actually been looking for this particular path for a little bit. As you can see, or maybe can't, all of the imperfections and things that are on the edges, I'm just smoothing out with this little line guy. A lot of clicks on this line. I'll show you after we finish. Just so we can get this as smooth as possible. But when I talk about lots of dots, go to edit points. Every single dot just sort of edges these lines. Same on this side, just had a little bit more freedom. I think this is going to be dope because what we can do is do this sort of the same thing. In some of these crevices here. Remember, when you're doing the wibbly wobbly line, keep your smoothness on so it'll catch your trace. And literally just that line gives some of the illusion of depth there and gives it edges to things, which we can probably now redo some of these to make them look a bit cooler. Got a couple more things I want to add in. I'm gonna start throwing a couple extra things in just for because I know they would be here. Tables. Say small rectangular table. Let's do should we keep a room intact? Yeah, let's keep a room intact, make it weird. Yeah, this is where the owners of the mine were. Where they used to work. Table. That's a 200. Okay. Oh, we're gonna throw some fog in there. We're definitely throwing some fog in there. Like fog, steam, like we're getting it. We're gonna put that in. I am looking for SE for seating for chairs. This is brown chair. Table's got to be a 3. Chair is going to be a 2. We're looking for storage. Strong box. Safe. Like a safe. A rusted, untouched safe. That's not ominous at all. Put this old rusted Safeco logo on top. Now let's go back to seating. Chairs, but we want these. Wild that you'd have a bunch of chairs that are destroyed, but everything behind the desk looks really nice. Y'all, if y'all could give me some colors for the rug that would be in this room, that would be awesome. So yeah, throw some colors in the chat, and while I throw some doors. Pink, maybe. Pink and purple. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I could rock with that. Let's put the doors right here. Rug circular. That's what we're gonna do. Dusty pink and purple. Dusty pink and purple. Yeah. No problem. Built-in furniture into the wall. Do some. Nah, this guy doesn't. I don't feel like this guy would have a framed portrait. That seems a little bit. See, this is the part that I definitely like playing with right now. Is this one room is minus the chairs relatively fine. Choose. Yeah, I wish there was like a little bit of a fraying like that I could throw on there, but I like that everything in here is pristine, minus the chairs. Like the chairs are the only thing that show any type of oddity here. Or at least this side of the room. I want this side of the room to be sort of in disrepair. Square. Smaller. I want to make sure they're reasonable. Let me go get some statues. These look really good. That's what we may just do. There it is. We'll get these busts. Somebody's knocking something off of a table into a wall, it would fall this way. So we sort of put this down. That's a 2. We're gonna move this up to 3, just so we can show things being on top of one another. And then all what you do is then for the 100 layer, back to our tags and go to rubble. And go back to like stone or oh sorry, I think we have like pebble piles, rubble piles work. Sort of these dusty, pebbly pieces. Let's make it real small. Yeah, something like this. They do have pebbles. Yeah. Or get like a dense spot of pebbles, and then you sort of. I think another wardrobe, like right on this side, that's untouched, would be really interesting. Or, ooh, maybe like a big, strong box, like a crate. Yeah, mahogany. Go back just to our last little sets. Oh, hold on. thicker holes. And what we want is it overlays? Yeah. Lighter, but more transparent. And these overlays are pretty dope. Smoke overlays are awesome. What they can do is act as your steam. It's rising off of your things. You can use it as just an effect tool. Give some smoke around. Now, just so that you guys can get a better sense, because I know this looks decent, but we want to give it some actual depth while we're still here. That's what I'm going to do. It's already saved. This is what's going to give it the actual look we want. Let's see. Just want to check. Front snap off, but do it the old-fashioned way, just end at corners. Yeah, that's fine for right now. I'm just gonna have to make all of our future paths on the 400 layer. Starting to see how this turn out. what I can always do is turn one side of the wall very dark and the other side not so dark. Getting some actual depth in this place. The one thing I have not done yet is put in like light sources, because there would be torches and things. They wouldn't be lit, but there would be torches and things around there. But I will give me a sec. I'll try to throw some in. Okay, there it is. Torches and sconces. So that this one room is still lit. It's gonna be awesome. I think they would probably have more of these wall torches in some of these areas. This part, I would like to do is sort of give this a weird blue, ominous like, vibe. Let's see. No. It will have a couple of things here. This was part of the reason why they came in here in the first place. Sprinkle some gems around. Do it in with wall-facing gems. I want to make something more like a full cave right here. So I'm gonna have to put this above roofs. I'm gonna have to make this twice as big. Um, and with that, I can turn that into something that blocks light. So if I take a light source, right, because this is my general lights, I can make it kind of dark in here if I want to. If I create a light source, or something akin to this, I'll flip it in a second. And then what we can do, this is the fun part about playing with light sources and things like that. You can turn over orange glow. Let's keep this deeper, brighter. Sort of like shines of light from. Not anymore though. That's this one, full shine, and what we'll do, we'll turn this path here and have it block light. And so when you have lights, you can make them shine all the way around and just block light wherever they are. We could do the same thing for everything else, like all of these walls. Provided it wants to play nice. There we go. Block light. And so what we can do with that is actually turn all of those lights on, right? So you can give use our light tool and some of these candles, some of these are like bigger lights, but places where we actually put in, I'm gonna turn the lights back on. Places where put some of these torches. So I'm gonna swap out my torches. So yeah, let's have a bunch of lit torches down here. Yet again, let's make this as weird as possible. Light source, light tool. I'm actually gonna soften this light to more of a pink, pinkish purple. I'm gonna swap this light source out. Just so you guys can sort of see how this is going to look. I'll do a couple more things to touch this up before we finish all the shadows and things like that. Sort of have these light sources that are here. And if we took object tools, so just some of these erasures, right? And we could always just say they're magical braziers that are lighting the path as people move through. It doesn't have to be realistic. We're playing in a fantasy game, guys. Can try to hit corners, right? So places where it would be make the most sense to have light. The top of the stairs, bottom of the stairs. What we'll do, and we're going to finish up here shortly. Let's go back to this orange, white, so like that. I could go to colors, yeah, there we go. And you can make it probably a 1 works for most of these guys. Just sort of tap on all your lights. Sometimes you'll get weird bends, but that's okay. And we'll do one more. Since we're here. If there's something to be found, you kind of want to make sure it's seen, right? Light tool. Boom. But what this does is that if we do want to turn the lights down, because as I said, you can start with the difference and then just shift this light down. Give yourself some brighter lights to deal with. So as we deal with the lights, like get a lot of dim light in places. So it's still a little bit of a struggle to walk through. I'm going to turn the intensity up on this one. I may have to redo this one. reduce it, just sort of turn the opacity down a bit. But to have like a couple paths lit, some paths not. Exactly. So going from, oh man, this path is lit, to there's no lights here, or there's lights on either side but there's something else going on. And once I fill in all the additional shadows and stuff like that, you'll see it look similar to the left, like the far side with these deep crevices. You gotta turn this ambient light back up. As I go through with the shadows for some of the other sides here, it'll start to accentuate the disjointed shadows here. So 400 there. Snap is off. So just to sort of show you, let's do this inner room here. I'm probably going to use shadow path 80. No, use B. Oh yeah, that's way too deep. 1. That's the type of thing that shadows can bring to all these places. If you have more space, like out here in further parts of the cave, you have more space to sort of utilize these bigger shadows. That last one sort of got away from me, but you sort of get the gist of it. Be able to fully throw down shadows. Sort of fully accentuates the fact that this is a cave. This is something that should be explored, really. And may have secrets you didn't even know about. Is try to accentuate some of these rubble piles here. Move these light sources around just to sort of give more light to things. Yeah, so just sort of make some of these kind of cool. Turn the light up if you need it. And as I said, I'll put in all the rest of the shadows because you still need a bunch. but I think we did pretty good, y'all. This is looking pretty dope. I'm gonna throw in a couple extra uh sites where things are being dug up. I'll be throwing in a couple extra mine carts here and there, just getting things from to and fro. Probably putting in some tracks and things like that. But this looks pretty dope, y'all. Uh, and honestly, thanks for the ideas. This made it made it pretty cool just to see what things we can come up with. And now, not only is this just an old mine, but it was an old mine that has lava falling out of the walls, that has had fully functioning uh carts, but no longer. It's completely abandoned, and there are lava monsters running around. And the office, oddly untouched, minus a few shattered statues. So yeah, let's see how the story fully unfolds as I finish all the other little details here and there. But yeah, this is pretty dope. I'm seeing things. Um, so yeah, I think we'll leave it at that. Thank you guys so much. It's been awesome. Had a blast making this. Hope you guys enjoyed dealing with you. Honestly, if you find a good lava pool that you can cook on, go for it. In game, do not do that in real life. I have to say that. Do not touch lava in real life unless you are with trained professionals wearing protective equipment. Um, yeah, real lava bad. Real lava bad. It is friend shaped. Yes, lava is friend shaped, but please, no friend. No friend. Um, lava responsibly. Um, but with that, y'all, uh, I really appreciate this. This has been awesome, and we're creating some cool stuff here. Uh, as always, I will do some more touch ups and then throw this up on the gram that y'all will see. I've been working on some of the touch ups from the previous ones, and they're going up as we speak. Got the arena just dropped earlier today. The full mansion will drop either either tomorrow or Wednesday. Provided I remember, I'm gonna write it down so I remember to throw it out there. But and then this will be out. Hopefully, this will be out soon because I still got to do some more touch ups and things to sort of accentuate what we're going for. Maybe more lava. Maybe. Who knows? But as always, thank you guys for hanging with us. Again, if you guys are heading to BlurredCon, keep an eye out for the OB crew. Ooh, crystals. Oh man. Okay, so this whole corner down here, crystals. Got you. You know what? We're gonna do that right now. I was trying to go away, but you bring me right back in. And it's really cool because we do have a whole bunch of crystals. We have stuff. You know what? I need either Finks or Ambe or anybody. Give me a color, please. We've already used pink and purple, so give me a color real fast, cause I have an idea. Peach. Oh god. Blue is easy. Let's see if we got peach-esque color. This will do. Yeah. well, if the players want to take their time to go dig out some of these. And you know what? I'm gonna have to put some like crazy shadows on these to like hide the edges, but these will be the veins of the mine, so things that people were trying to hit. Um, but it will only be seen from the top, so I'll throw some like shadow over the top of these, like something running through here. Things like that. Yeah, there we go. Little crystal clusters. We were gonna end. Oh man, this would be cool. So yeah, we're gonna have these peach colored gems. I'm writing that down. Hidden throughout the caverns that were fruitful for a little bit until, they all dried up. But well, I did have a bunch of these colored gems, so we're good. And we'll throw more in. We'll throw more in. Yeah. See, we got there. So, yeah. Thanks for hanging with me. Thank you for coming to Monday Maps with me, MadDrRob. You can catch me on the everywheres at MadDrRob. Thank you again to Ambe for being our wonderful director of production. Make sure we look good, sound good, smell good, all over the internet. Appreciate you. Definitely would this would be rough without you. As I said, if you're hitting a BlurredCon, keep a lookout for the socials for OB things happening there. We run some games. If you're catching up on Castleton, go for it. It's awesome. I had a lot of blast doing it. Apochromatic Unlimited is still running their Black History Month celebration. Please donate for a great cause, and really appreciate it. But with that, I think we're good. Happy Black History Month, y'all. Peace. We out here.